So great to see everyone and be with you on this, 46th day, 47th at sunset of the Omer, which also is Memorial Day. So as we start, I would like to take a moment here as we come together and we begin to settle in to acknowledge Memorial Day, which here in the US is a day set aside since 1868. That's for honoring and mourning military personnel who've died while serving in the United States Armed Forces. And I'd like to include tonight, the frontline workers who've lost their lives while dedicating themselves to fighting the current war that we have going against COVID-19. Those who've lost their lives while caring for patients during this pandemic who've been suffering from the commonly fatal and mysterious virus that's still sadly running wild, even as we begin to open up our country and our states and our towns again. And we'll conclude this evening by saying Kaddish for all of those who have died from COVID-19 and those who've died from other causes, of course. But as we begin this evening, as we come together as a group and begin to coalesce as an energetic field of healing and light and presence and love, I just want to invite us to take a few breaths and to bring in and remember the heroes, really, whose very lives have been taken as they've supported our freedom and our safety and our care for centuries, for decades, for years, and now in this moment. So as I'll ring the bell, and I invite you to take a moment, we'll take a moment together, a moment or two, to offer our appreciation, our love, our blessings, our presence, especially to those who've been serving us now during the pandemic, as well as those upon whose shoulders they stand. May their memories always, always, always be for a tremendous blessing. Please, God. The teaching I'm going to share with you this evening is inspired by the writings of Rabbi Abraham Isaac HaKohen Cook, and I learned them from the writings of a modern day man named David Weisberg. So we're counting our days. We're still counting our days. We're counting the Omer. Every day since the second night of Pesach, since the full moon of Nisan, through to the 6th of Sivan, which is this Thursday night, we've been counting the day. And the practice is and has been, to the best of our ability, to remember to count the day minimally, to take a moment each day to be present, to awaken our sense of wonder, and to embrace the unfoldment of the divine mystery that allows us to move from places of constriction and angst to places of relaxation and freedom. And since the 16th and 17th centuries, many people, probably many of you, have embraced the practice of counting the Omer, not as an agricultural practice, which is how it began, and not just as a moment to be present, but they've taken it further, just as the Kabbalists did, to use this period as a time of days and weeks of spiritual refinement. And the penultimate days of this 49-day long journey unfold in these first days of the month of Sivan, which this year, this cycle around the sun, right, 5780 or 2020, began last night, and it goes through June 2nd. So 47, 48, 49, 50, right? And 50 is Thursday night, Shavuot. Shavuot, which there's great programming offered here at Chakma. You can check it out on their website and around town, but Shavuot commemorates the revelation in the wilderness at the base of Mount Sinai, when the divine mystery directly contacted more than 2 million women, men, and children. And on the 1st of Sivan, which this year around, right, this spiral of time and space, where it's not like a circle where we end up in the exact same spot, but we do spiral around into the energy again and again of a particular time and space. The 1st of Sivan this year was last night. And in the original experience and the original story of the Jewish unfoldment, the Jewish path unfolding, on the 1st of Sivan is when the people arrived at the base of Mount Sinai. On the 2nd of Sivan, which is today, the Jewish path became a path of practice, a path and practice of nobility, service, and alignment. Right? And then the next 3 days, which today in this year corresponding current time to tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday, Yisrael, which is another word for those who struggle with the divine unfoldment as it's here in the physical world, which I would assume most of us do. Yisrael stood at the base of Sinai, anticipating the giving and anticipating the receiving of the Torah, of the teaching, the guidance on how to live life in alignment with truth and love and integrity. It wasn't only Torah and mitzvot. It wasn't only the instructions on how to live that were revealed at Mount Sinai. It was there that people were gifted the discovery of their own true inner essence. They felt it. They attained a magnificent, glorious, awe-inspiring level of natural inner purity, natural alignment, true, unquestionable inner knowing. At that moment, at the base of Mount Sinai, there wasn't any separation. There weren't 2 million women, men, and children. There was, for that flash of enlightenment, for that moment in that true experience, there was one nation, one existence, one moment that included us. There wasn't any linear time. There was no movement through time and space. They didn't understand it in their minds, right? In fact, many of the Chazal say that people's minds and bodies, literally their bodies, were blown open by all that was given to them, all that they received. But they, in that experience of revelation, instantly aligned with the natural essence, the natural truth of who and what they truly were. What who we truly are, which is the physical divine expression of being itself. Nothing extra, nothing more, nothing less. It was a moment when there wasn't any separation between divine mystery and the human life. When the infinite met the finite personally, when heaven and earth, when spirit and matter, when Shemayim v'ha'aretz were known and felt and experienced as one united expression of being. Union, no separation. They were alive without any hesitation, no guessing, no questioning. We yearn for that, right? We want that. We sometimes experience it. And did they completely understand it with their mind? Did it make sense? Probably not, right? At least not to the majority of them. And the majority of them were like you and me, right? They got it on levels that most of us in today's, they got it like on levels that in today's day we experience in the most memorable moments of our lives. Those times when, we give birth, or there's a sudden death, or at a wedding, or in deep meditation, sometimes in deep meditation. Mystical moments when everything is one, when everything is echad. Everything is revealed for what it truly is, always. Right? So take a breath right now. Take a breath. Feel where you are. Right now in this moment, sense yourself. Every breath you take, according to Proverbs, every breath you take is the word of God. Life is Torah, and Torah is life. And Shavuot is about the celebration of aliveness, the opportunity and the mystery and the gift of being alive. Exactly, exquisitely, as you are right now in this moment of receiving this moment, receiving your breath exactly as it is. It's a tiny, tiny, infinitesimal drop of the original revelation, that contact. And during Sivan this month, now, today, through June 22nd, heaven and earth meet in the middle, right? The divine mystery and humanity come together in harmony and union. One doesn't exist without the other. It says in Exodus that which was above came down, and that which was below climbed up. And at that ultimate moment of glory at the base of Mount Sinai, as the divine, mysterious life force revealed the path of alignment with how and what and why to live according to the Jewish holy path, the people who were there, before they fully understood it, before they could even begin to grok it, were so impressed upon, their souls so deeply impressed upon and touched, that remarkably their response was na'aseh v'nishma. We will do and we will listen, right? The order is so critical. So many teachings about the order. We will do and then we'll listen. They promise to keep the Torah, to live in alignment with this truth to the very best of their ability, even before knowing what or why or how it was even possible. And it's similar, really, it struck me as I was feeling into this class and us being together tonight and Shavuot and their experience, it struck me how similar it is to what we're doing right now in the world today. How we're living in alignment, right? How are you living in alignment to the truth of our reality, to the truth that's required of us all and each of us individually, even though we don't know much about the circumstances in which we find ourselves? We don't really understand COVID or shelter in place or opening or reopening or washing our hands or wearing masks or social distancing or visiting or not visiting. We don't know how to live in alignment without knowing. Much of the call of Sivan is to open to receiving, opening to the symbiotic partnership with the divine unfoldment. Some months in the Jewish mystical calendar, the partnership between the infinite and the finite is more one-sided, right? Sometimes, for instance, we experience these sudden openings which were clearly inspired by something outside of our own effort, by God, by the divine, by life force, by the mystery, right? Births, unanticipated opportunities, Bay Area sunsets, sudden deaths, astonishing coincidences, right? You're like, whew, undeniable. Other months, we can't even sense anything beyond our own like sludging day to day, waking up, doing our thing. It's like, rah. But during Sivan, this month, now, between now and June 22nd, and you can watch it. It's according to a lunar calendar, so you can watch the moon. It's the whole moon cycle. We're touched and affected and impacted by this accessible partnership between us and the divine, between the finite and the infinite. For any relationship to exist, both parties have to come forward and participate. No successful relationship is one-sided. Even the relationship between us and the divine. Na'aseh v'nishma. First, you do it. We will do it, and then we'll listen. Then we'll try to understand. We're in the flow of divine unfoldment. We don't understand much, if any of it, yet. We open to the receiving. We do, and then we may understand, or not. It isn't really about knowing. It isn't about knowing first and acting on that knowledge. No. It's about living in and within the stream of pure divine unfoldment, which includes and allows for everyone and everything. The flow of intensity goes straight through the mind. The Vav, for those of you who study with me, the Vav is in the world of Birah, right? It goes straight through the mind like a flow. And it expresses itself, that first hey of the tetragrammaton expresses itself through your heart. It's not what you think about it. It's your expressive, it's your heart's expression. So check in right now. What's your heart experiencing? Bring your awareness and your breath to your heart. Not what you think your heart is experiencing or what you think your heart should be experiencing, but check in with your heart. Your heart center, your breath, as it's being expressed through your heart, Tiferet. We'll spend the days of Sivan, and we'll practice tonight in chant and meditation, opening to the divine partnership between you and the infinite source. And use your breath as the link between these two worlds. It's so accessible in that way. Your breath, your nishima, and your soul, your neshama, are as intricately connected as your inhalation and your exhalation. Without one, you don't have the other. They're the same. Your breath and your soul, echad. And so the focus of this evening's meditation will be on receptivity. Kamti ani liftoach lidodi. I will open to you, my beloved. Will you open to me? Right? Meditation is a practice of presence. We might not always understand it, but we're committed again and again to return to the cushion, to return to your breath with awareness, to connect, to receive, to be. Right? You're opening to the beloved, and the beloved is opening to you, moment by moment, breath by breath. As we chant and meditate, open yourself to receiving in this moment. Right? The energy is symbiotic. You open and the beloved opens. The beloved opens and you open. It's a giving and a receiving. An inhalation and an exhalation. A union of heaven and earth, of spirit and matter. Shamayim v'ha'aretz. I remember one of my early teachers, Mindy Ribner, said that meditation is the ultimate act of receiving. And through meditation, we learn how to better receive our lives, right? Some of us are terrible at receiving. You know who you are. But we practice, right? We practice by meditating one way. Meditation is a receptive practice that allows us to touch or drop into or to receive consciousness, presence, contact, awareness. So Janet will lead us in the chant, and Dorit will put it up on the screen for you to reference. I learned this chant decades ago at Chakmat, so I'd imagine most of you are familiar with it. Kamti Ani liftoach lidodi. I will open to you, my beloved. Will you open to me? Just bringing your awareness to your breath, feeling the impact of your breath, your unique sound coming from your breath, bringing your attention to the breath. As you inhale, feeling your abdomen, your belly expand. And as you exhale, feeling your abdomen, your belly relax. As you inhale, your belly expands. As you exhale, your belly relaxes. Allowing your breath to deepen. Move from deep in the belly, below the abdomen, moving up through the rib cage to the top of your chest, and exhaling through your mouth. Open mouth exhale, making any sound that enables you to go even more deeply. Receiving your inhale, filling your belly, your rib cage, your chest, and exhale, letting go of any stress, letting go of any constriction, allowing your body to move in any way that allows you to deepen. As you begin to settle into your breath, into your body, into your physical container. Now direct your breath to the center of your heart, Tiferet. Allowing the flow, the divine expression to be expressed through your heart. Breathing into and out of your heart center, Tiferet. With each receptive breath, you allow yourself to open and relax a little more deeply. Receiving the in-breath, relaxing, offering the out-breath. As you settle in and the chatter of your ego mind begins to settle, begins to quiet, as you breathe, as you inhale, be aware that you do not breathe by your own will, but that it's a gift. Receive your breath. Open to the experience of being breathed in your heart. Breathing in, you receive revelation. Exhaling, your unique expression. Breathing in, receiving. Breathing out, presence expressing itself through you uniquely. Breathing in to your heart center, receiving. Allowing your exhalation to relax as an expression into the world, into reality. Breathing in, you receive. Breathing out, you offer. Breathing in, receiving. Breathing out, expressing uniquely, exquisitely, precisely as you. Kamti ani liftoach lidodi. I will open to you, my beloved. Will you open to me? Receiving, opening, relaxing, expressing your heart's offering. And then we'll sit this way until you hear a bell. Breathing, receiving, exhaling, being. Returning again and again to your breath, to your soul.